Life Rhythms with Ryan Skyy. Observing the world around me, looking inward, trying to make sense of it all.
This is me praying. This is me on my knees begging to a man I've never met before. I just need an open door.
Welcome to Life Rhythms Radio Show. I'm your host, Ryan Skyy. Life Rhythms is a radio show that revolves around my personal growth journey. As a DJ and a producer, I spend a lot of my time observing the world around me, looking inward, trying to make sense of it all. I've been doing it in song form, and now I do it on the radio show and podcast. Each episode of Life Rhythms, we feature one guest and one song or album, and then we choose topics related to the artists and the music for us to talk about. I'm excited for today's episode. It's a special one because my guest is Sela Bruce. Hi, Sela.
Hi.
And she's a singer-songwriter, incredible vocalist. You heard clips of her singing the song Praying coming into the opening of this. And the reason why I was saying this is special for me too is because that song Praying, Sela and I have both released as a single. This is both of our singles. And we're here today to talk about the song, the lyrical content. I want to talk about Sela's life and kind of like your journey, things that you've been going through the past couple years and what inspired you to write the song. And for us to just catch up, because it's been a minute since we've had a chance, right?
It's been a minute.
Yeah. So we're going to get into all of that. We're going to take a quick break. And then when we get back, I'm going to dive into this with Sela Bruce and the song Praying, right here on Life Rhythms. This episode is brought to you by Mixillery.com. I'm excited to have Mixillery on as a sponsor personally because Mixillery is a platform that you can use to find and hire someone to remix your song. And why that's so important is because anybody can go online and you can search music producers, you can search for remixers, you can hire somebody, but it's like, how much do you pay them and who should you hire and what genre should you choose? And with option overload, it can be a little overwhelming to figure out what's the best use of your money. Because what it comes down to is remixes are marketing tools. A remix of a record will get that record in front of a larger audience. It will get that record played in venues and areas like the gym or a club or a car or a fitness studio, places that maybe your original song may not be appropriate for. So it is an important marketing tool, but then who remixes it is important because first of all, the quality of the remix, and also maybe they have their own audience that's going to discover this remix. Maybe they have a following. Maybe they have a radio show. Maybe they tour and they'll be playing it out live. These are all sorts of things that are important. So Mixillery is a service that will help match you with the best remixer for your budget. So check out Mixillery.com for more information on this.
I need answers that I can't find, running out of good side. This is me praying, praying, praying.
I mean, everything I write is pretty much unbelievably personal. And so there's a lot that like I kind of walk over, but I never really get into. Like I'm a big mental health person because I've dealt with all kinds of crap my whole life. And like I've been sober for 2 years and I don't really talk about that a lot. Like ever really.
Like in your immediate friends or online or? Online
really. I mean, for my 1 year and my 2 year, I would post and be like, hey, haven't drank for 365 days.
Yeah.
But I've never really gone into it and like how it affected like music or like anything like that. So I mean, I'm an open book. I'll talk about whatever, get into whatever. So.
Okay. Good. I'm just excited. I'm just really happy to reconnect with you and chat with you.
I know. I was talking to my roommates because I was like, I'm at my dad's house right now because I live with 3 girls and it's not always quiet.
Yeah. So
I was like, okay, I'll come to my dad's. I'm just in his studio right now where it's dark and easy for me to just sit here. So I was talking to them and I was like, this guy, Ryan, who I worked with in LA, like one of the first times I went out there, is releasing Praying, blah, 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 told them about it. And I showed them your Instagram and he was like, oh my God, he's the cutest person I've ever seen. I was like, I know.
Who said this? Your dad?
My roommates.
Oh, your roommates. I was like, your dad said that? Oh, wow. Your roommate said that. Oh, that's sweet. Wow.
Yeah. Well, because I always just do random things and I'll like...
Yeah.
Releases and stuff. Like I forget to tell even like my mom. And she's like, hey, I just saw this on Instagram. Are you doing this? And I'm like, oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Right.
Like, I forget. I'm like, okay, cool. Everything's happening at once.
Yeah, it's the timeline of making music. A lot of people that don't do it, they have literally no idea what the experience is like. You know,
No.
and we don't even really know when we're making a song. If, like, for instance, Praying, you and I were working on a different song. We were writing a different song.
Yeah.
Remember? And then we were just taking a break in the middle of a writing session, and we were chatting, and you were just showing me like voice notes on your phone. You're showing me different song ideas, and you played a little bit of Praying, and you kind of just like brushed it over. Like, you're like, oh, that's, this is like spiritual slow song or something. And you kept going, and just, I was like, wait, go back, back, a little more. What's that? And then that's when you played it for me, and it spoke to me. It was, I make dance music, and it's not a dance song at all, but there was just something about that song that really spoke to me. That's
one of those songs. When I remember the day that I wrote it, I went into the room with Josh, and he just started playing a piano track, and he was like, write to this, let's see if we come up with anything. And then I immediately had the chorus idea, and I just wrote the whole thing like right there.
Yeah.
And he stopped, and he was like, all right, so what do you got? I was like, I just wrote a really weird song, I think, but it's really cool. And it's one that like I brought home and I played for my friends and like my family, and they were like, this is it. This is a good one. Like, this is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
when you wrote, because you're 2 years sober, and when did you write this song? Was it?
I wrote it, I believe, let me check the date on the lyric sheet. I think 2020, the beginning of 2020.
Okay.
So literally like a month before I went out and we wrote together.
Okay. And this was, what was this?
This was before
I was sober. Okay. Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah. So you wrote this, and you weren't playing. Have you ever written a song like this before?
Not as openly kind of talking about like a god or like a higher power. Yeah. Not where that is like the center of the song. Like I always call it my God song, because I didn't grow up in like a super religious family, but I live in Tennessee, so I've been surrounded by all kinds of everything. I mean, there's a cross everywhere you look, but I know enough about it to be aware of it, but I've never had, like, I didn't do the youth group, I didn't do all of that, but with being like a creative person, you feel things 10 times harder than a normal person. And I was always, sorry, I'm just like rambling, but it's so.
That's the show. We've got time. And by the way, because we're doing a rolling start. So for those of you joining us on Adobe Radio, I'm Ryan Skyy. You're listening to Life Rhythms right now. This is the Life Rhythms podcast and radio show. And my guest is Sela Bruce. She's joining me. And you're joining from Nashville? Are you in Nashville right now? Yeah.
Yeah.
You're joining me from Nashville. And what we're talking about Praying, which is a song that both of us are putting out. It's out now. If you're listening to this, the song is out. It's called Praying. We're featuring the song, and we're talking about it. We're going over the background of the song and how we both relate to it. And so that's where we're at right now. So you were saying that you grew up in Tennessee, not really religious family, but it was all around you. It was kind of like part of the culture.
Yeah. And like I was in church choir when I was a kid, but it was never, like, it wasn't something that was super crazy important to me as a kid. And I was never, like, around it a lot. My parents grew up in church, and, but this song is more of like I know that something is stronger than me. I know that something's out there.
Yeah.
I don't know how to talk to you. I don't know how to sit here and be like, hey, are you going to listen? So it was just like a scream into the universe, like, hey, I could really use some help and I don't know how to reach you. Like, because the first line is, like, I called you twice, but you don't pick up your phone.
I want to run away from home. I called you twice,
Yeah.
but you don't pick up your phone.
And like, it almost sounds like the start of a relationship song.
Yeah.
And that line is so important because it's kind of being like, I wish I could have a one-on-one conversation with this being that is stronger than me, like this higher power that I wish could give me some sort of clarity and answers, but you just can't. You can't just be like, hey, we need to talk for a second.
Yeah.
And I was so unfamiliar with the act of praying. So I was like, this is what this is to me. I'm writing this song to you. This is me asking for help. This is me asking for guidance. If it gets to you, great. Like, just kind of like a desperate cry for anything, any sort of help from,
Have you seen Eat, Pray, Love?
No.
The movie? Oh, there's a scene in the beginning of the movie where Julia Roberts, like, I won't give away the whole movie, but in the beginning, her whole life is falling apart. She's getting a divorce. She hates her job, and like everything is just crushing in on her, and it breaks her down to the point where she's in literally the same place where she's not religious. She doesn't pray. She's never done it before, but she's so desperate for help and just to transcend the difficulty of her life in that moment that she's just like, I guess I'll try this, and it's so sweet. The scene, like she gets down on her knees and she like prays to God, but she's just like, God, like, are you there? You know, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what to say, but I need, something's got to change. Something's got to give. And that's that book really resonates with people too. I feel like this song, there's something universal about the song. I mean, when you and I did that writing session, that was in the middle of COVID, right? It was like around COVID.
It was like,
or right before COVID, maybe.
It was right before because it was March 2020. And I remember when I went to the airport to go back home, there was like, I maybe saw like 10 people wearing masks. And I was like,
what the hell?
This is weird.
Yeah.
Like, is this real? And there was like maybe 2 COVID cases in the United States. But I was like, what is this? This is weird. And then literally like a week later, everything was shut down.
Yeah. I remember hearing your demo of Praying. Beautiful, slow. And I don't know, but just something in me was like, I've got to find a way. This needs to be out there. And we've got to find a way to produce it in a way that, like, I knew we could make it work. And yeah, but it's slow. I mean, it's like 80 BPM, somewhere around there. And most of the dance music is in like the 120s. So when we were first working with the vocal from you, we tried speeding it up. I tried making it like 118, 120, and that didn't work. And then, but it felt like it was being forced into different genres. And then finally I was just like, you know what? No, this is the song, and I'm just gonna try to do the song justice as is without, like, I want to enhance the vocal and not take away from it. Like, I just want to do what I can to just complement it and try to honor it as it is. I think that's something I'm so grateful for, and like, thank goodness it fell into your hands. Like, because there are so many people that wouldn't even think to keep it where it is. That wouldn't even feel how special it is and be like, oh yeah, let's keep this right where it is. Like you have no idea how happy I am that like, and Sela, it's also your baby. I'm like holding my hands like this. I know. It's beautiful. And Sela, I have to tell you, last week I was DJing. I played it live for the first time. all the, 2 years we've been working on the song, different variations of it. I never once played it in public, ever.
Really?
Yeah, I never played it out. And I finally, last week, I played it in San Diego at Rich's. And I knew I was going to play it. I obviously wanted to play it when like the most people were there. So it was going to be around like 12:30 a.m., 1 a.m. And I was really nervous because I'm like, I know it's a great song. I love the song. And anyone I've ever played it to, they have a very strong reaction to it. Not just like, oh, I like that, but it's a very strong reaction from literally every person, from young kids to grandparents, people like, grandparents' age, to my brother's a priest. He loved it. But all walks of life, people who don't listen to dance music, they responded to. But anyways, I knew I was going to play it at the club last week, and I was nervous because I'm like, I play really high energy, fast music all night. It's party vibes, it's high energy, it's people are drinking. And I was like, and I'm going to play this, like, I was nervous. How is this song going to play in that space? It's 80 beat, like leading up to it, I've got hours and hours of this like raging music, and then I'm gonna play like an 80 BPM song that starts out slow. I wanna run away from home, right? And I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work. This could be a total mess. I don't know, but I have to say, it sounded so good in that space.
That's so awesome.
I was shocked. I mean, I knew it was a great song, but like, people when they're at the club, if they don't know the song, they kind of check out pretty quickly. They want to know the songs, they want to sing along to it and stuff. So for it to be a slow song and a song no one's ever heard of, and it's in the middle of the night, and still it just sounded so big in that space, like the drop and the vocal, it really carried its weight, and that made me so excited. I was like, oh my God, yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you, God. Thank you. Yeah.
Because I think it resonates so deeply with any person because it's a general song, as specific as it is. It is, everyone has felt that hopeless feeling of like, someone please help. Someone please like take some weight off of my shoulders. And nobody really knows what's going on. So it's such a, and the word praying, like the song being called This Is Me Praying, it makes you want to be like, what is it? Like, what are you doing? What is this? And it's just a general like, hey, not doing well, wish somebody would help me.
Yeah. I didn't realize until recently that life has always seemed challenging to me. But I didn't realize that life is hard for everybody until recently. I was listening to a podcast, or I was listening to, I forget who it was. Maybe it was like Jordan Peterson or somebody. It was an intellectual. And they were saying that life is hard for everybody. And like it's almost liberating. Because then when you realize, it's almost like in Buddhism, there's, what is it? Everywhere you go, everything you do, anywhere you go, you will encounter dukkha. And dukkha is unhappiness, unsatisfactoriness, meaning like no matter what you do, no matter where you are, there's always this underbelly of like dissatisfaction. And I feel like that's a beautiful thing. Like that's the thing that like drives evolution, not evolution, expansion. Like the thing where we're always wanting more, we're always wanting to get better. We're always trying to do more. And I think that's the drive. I think it's that drive where we're just never going to be satisfied. And that's good because it keeps us growing and striving. But then also, if you dwell on it, you can kind of be like, well, I feel sad all the time. Is this normal? Like, why do I have to feel like this?
Yeah. And it is comforting to think of like, everyone is striving to do the next thing. Everyone is striving to get better. Like you think of, I mean, just a general, like celebrities, like your parents, like you always, like when you're a kid, you think your parents have it all together. And like, oh, being an adult, that's it. I just want to get there. And now I'm like, can I please just be 7 and not have to deal with being an adult? Like, And growing up is realizing like your parents aren't perfect. Your celebrity crush isn't perfect. The people that you read biographies about, like they all had terrible struggles. They all had the best days of their lives and the worst. Like it's a comforting thing to think about when you're so low to be like, okay, there are people I look up to that have also felt this way and they're fine. So it's got to be okay at some point.
And it's so interesting. The more I talk to people on the show here and the more I just see interviews online, and then like I'll talk to people who've like won a Grammy and they literally tell me, they're like, I didn't feel any different afterwards. It's almost like the lead up to it was more exciting, and then you get it, and then you're like super grateful, like, oh, I'm so grateful this happened, but it didn't have the effect that I thought it would. I still kind of feel the same, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, like take like Billie Eilish, for example. She's won countless Grammys, and she got so much shit for it the first time. The first time she won Grammys, it's like 2 or 3 years ago. She won like 6, and everyone hated on her for it because she was young and no one took her seriously. So they were like, why is this girl winning Grammys? So she had such a negative connotation with it. And she's talked about it and been like in the years after that, like she would hide her face and not want to win because the feet, like, that's always stuck with me when I think about like winning a Grammy, which is like when you're a musician, that's like the thing.
Yeah.
You always think about that. You always think about the award shows and the speeches you would give, and to think about like at the end of the day, it's just like this thing you have in your house that you go home to. Like I'm no Grammy winner. I would love one. Like it's crazy to think about.
I think about stuff like that too. I think a lot of existential stuff that I don't know if it's good for me to let my mind go there, but I think of even, it's like when we die, you can't take any of that stuff with you. And then I even think about people that like Marilyn Monroe. I try to think of people, Elvis, who not only were they super famous and successful, but they've managed to become part of the zeitgeist and part of our culture. But even as time goes on, as history goes on, even they kind of get folded into history. You know, you see less and less of them, and society keeps changing. And there's nothing wrong with that. But then and then it gets my mind thinking of like, what's the point of all of this? What am I doing? And just really checking in to make sure that I'm making the most of my time here. Yeah,
because that's the biggest question is like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Like, is it just an experiment? And I like to think like we're just one planet. There's thousands of other experiments just like this. And like, I think about that a lot when I like am low on like money, or I'm like, oh, rent's coming up next week. And I'm like, I might be broke sometimes, but like I have amazing friends, and like I've cherished those relationships that like I hope last me for the rest of my life. Or like I've done good, like I go see my grandparents, like I try to make sure I'm doing something that matters, that like I care about, not like some big huge gesture every day, just like the small things that are important to me. Doesn't have to matter to anybody else. Like this is what I want my life to be like.
Yeah.
Like I want like my kids, my grandkids to be able to remember me as XYZ. Just like no idea what's going on.
Yeah, they say people don't remember you for what you've done for them or what you've done, but they remember the way you made them feel.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
That's literally it. Is they just remember the way that you made them feel. Like that's what matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember hearing that as a kid, and it just like flew right over my head. And like thinking about that now is so crazy. There's so many weird stories about like my grandfather specifically, because he was a cowboy, and I think of him as like the grandfather that would like chase me and my cousins around the house and like play with us. And he was such a good grandfather. And then I'll hear a crazy story about like, I don't even know what I would be able to say, but like, it is just the way that someone makes you feel. Because I still can so vividly remember how happy I would be.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And that's also the challenge with relationships, why people sometimes go back to someone or they miss somebody. It's because they miss the way that they felt with that person. You know? Or like if you lose a dog, it's you're missing the way. It's like you're not necessarily missing the dog. You're missing the way the dog made you feel. So back to praying. Was there a particular moment that led you to write this song?
With that time in my life, it was was I 19? I think I was 19. And I was only like a year or two out of high school, and all of my friends were in college. And I had signed my deal before I graduated, so I was still at home. And I was working, like doing, like writing 6-7 days a week, but I still felt like alone. Like I felt so alone in that.
Yeah.
Because everyone I knew was somewhere else and doing something completely different. And it was just such a lonely, lonely time in my life. Not to say that I didn't still talk to my friends. I have great friends I've had for years, but it was still such a, like, am I not in the right spot? Should I have done this or this differently? And so it was a constant, like, just thought in my head. Like, I just felt so lost and lonely because I didn't do what I was supposed to do after high school. And so I wouldn't say it was a super specific moment. I think it was just that general feeling of just feeling lost.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to take a break. We're coming. It goes by fast, right?
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break. Adobe listeners, this is Life Rhythms radio show and podcast. I've got my guest, Sela Bruce, and we are featuring our song, Praying, which you're hearing clips of throughout this. And we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, we're going to talk more about the song. We're going to dive into the lyrics. I have some more questions for Sela right after this on Adobe Radio.
There's so much I never told anybody because they think my heart was cold. But I'm trying. I swear I've been trying. I need something to believe in. It might sound stupid, but I'm strangers with my feelings. Not even crying. I swear I've been trying.
Welcome back to Life Rhythms radio show. I'm your host, Ryan Skyy. I've got with me on Zoom, I was going to say in the studio, I got with me on Zoom my guest, Sela Bruce. She's a singer, songwriter, and vocalist, and she is the vocalist and writer of the song Praying, which you just heard clips of it coming into this. Welcome back, Sela.
Hi.
I want to get into these lyrics because these are special lyrics. So Praying, let's talk about, let's just start with verse 1. Let's just go right from the beginning. So I want to run away from home. I called you twice, but you don't pick up the phone. We did talk about that.
That line, I love that line opens the song so much because I kind of like it could throw some people off. Like, oh, this is about an ex or some sort of relationship. The missed call makes it feel like it's a human.
Yes.
Someone that you can just pick up the phone and call. And then I have the lyrics pulled up, so I'm not lagging on this.
And that feeling of I want to run away from home, of just like, I want to escape my life. I want to get away from this difficulty.
Yeah. Like, I want to be able to, like, I feel it on my shoulders. Like, you just want to be able to take the weight off of your shoulders somehow, or have help taking the weight off of your shoulders. What's the reason? Like, is there a reason? And I wanted that so specifically because I've always kind of been a everything happens for a reason kind of person. And when I get so down or so anxious and just in such a dark place, I want to get angry at somebody and be like, what's the reason for this? Like, why do I have to go through this to be grateful for everything else in my life? Like, why does it have to get so bad? And I feel like a lot of people can relate to that. Like, people have been through better, people have been through worse. It's not a competition, but it's like a kick in the gut when someone's like, well, you have to go through this so you appreciate everything else. Like, everything happens for a reason. And when you're in that low of a place, you want to be like, what's the reason?
You're like, fuck the reason. I don't want
Yeah, like what? Yeah. Like why? Yeah. It's sounds angry, but got to.
No, what's the reason? What about I want to scream until I can't?
Kind of just like I picture screaming into your pillow. Like just the desperate, like you don't want anyone to hear you. You don't want to talk about it with anybody. Just like going into your room, grabbing a pillow and screaming. And like, I think scream until I can't is more so of like just becoming exhausted.
Getting it all out.
Yeah. And like getting it all off of your chest. So in another way to loosen the burden or anything on you. And I think it's getting cold. Can't even feel my hands. Just kind of, it's the same road back to when you're really depressed, you don't even feel like yourself.
There's a numb.
It's like you look in the mirror and you don't even look like you.
Yeah.
There's so many times where I've been so down and I'll like catch a reflection of myself and I'm like, who is this person? Why am I here again? Like it's so human, unfortunately. To feel that way.
And also that numb feeling of you're either feeling numb or you're doing something to kind of numb the pain, drinking, drugs or whatever, pornography or Netflix or whatever it is to distract yourself or I can relate to all that.
Like I said before, like I'm a very big mental health advocate and I am pretty open about it. Like with a lot of the songs I release, I'll talk about the story. I'll tell you everything's true. Everything going into it, as heartbreaking as it can be, is real and is something that so many people feel. That's why, like, I'm so glad. I keep doing my hands like this, like it's a baby.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so glad, like, we're able to, like, give it to everyone.
Yeah. I know.
Like, we're able to sit here and
it's
be like,
out in the
here's
world.
this special thing. Please take care of it.
Yeah.
Like, you'll love it and it will love you. And like, songs like that keep you safe and keep you together in your head.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, with this song, like, we're going to do everything we can for the song. I just pray that it finds its audience.
Yeah.
I just really want the song to be out there. I'm curious. It'll be fun to watch, to see.
I know.
Because
I'm excited because I've never released a song like this.
Yeah.
And I've never trusted another person to give, like we share this song completely. And I've never felt so comfortable letting someone else raise a song with me and then just give her to the world. So I'm very excited.
Thank you. Yeah. Whew. Yeah, I'm excited about it. It'll just be fun to just see it out there and watch it. Just watch it be in the world. I've been encouraged by just anybody I've played it for, like I had said before, they've had reactions to it, and even people that aren't religious, aren't spiritual, don't go to church, and that's a big thing I'm curious about is like how will people. I'm just curious to see like what audience it will find an audience, but I'm curious to see who the audience is. Like how people relate to it. So far, it seems like regardless if somebody believes or doesn't believe, they still find meaning from it. It still moves them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I tell people like when they see, or if I say this is the title and it's This Is Me Praying, people are immediately gonna go to religion, and I'm like, no. It's spiritual. It's not about anything specifically. It's about a human being just being vulnerable and asking for help. It's not even like, and I've played it for a good amount of people, especially like a lot of my best friends know all the words to way too many of my songs. And with this one specifically, the biggest word they use to describe it is powerful. And I've never even had to be like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean, your voice, the combination of your voice with the lyrical content and the production behind it, you sound fantastic. That vocals, ooh, yes.
Yeah, that fantastic. It was a fun one to do. I like when I get to like freely do a vocal like that. Yeah. Because especially like when you hear the song, you know what I mean when I say a vocal like that. Just when I feel it and not have to go by a strict melody.
Before we even started telling people it was coming out or anything, and I was just playing it for people, literally every single time they say, who is that? Who's the vocalist? Who's the singer? Like they all want to know. Yeah.
It's me.
It's you. It's Sela Bruce.
It's me, guys. That's awesome. That's so sweet.
And I'm glad the vocal that people hear in we haven't even gotten to the chorus yet, which we're going to get into. But the chorus vocal, a lot of that was just meant to be at the end of the song. And the original version that we were doing together, it would just say, this is me praying. And then it was kind of like an instrumental.
Yeah.
And then it was a little bit more vocal. And then I just was like, no, that part at the end where she's belting, I was like, I feel like that should happen every time.
Oh, and I love that it does.
I'm like, that should happen every time. Somebody on my team advised against it. He's like, I don't know, it could get boring, or maybe like you wanna give them something to look forward to, kind of build up to that moment. I'm like, but no, that's the core of the song. Moment. That's the moment. And it literally only happens twice. The chorus is two times in the song, so we can hear it twice. And at the end, you do stuff that's unique. Mm-hmm. You go a little further with the runs. So I'm really glad we did that.
Yeah, I love that. That's one of...
Oh, and did I send you the version in the beginning where we originally were sampling the Fuji song?
No.
Damn, it works so well. Oh my God. So, okay, I'm not a singer, but imagine... the ready or not, here I come. You know that part? Ready or not. So whatever that beginning. I want to run away from home. It does work. I called you twice, but you don't pick up your phone. What's the reason?
It does work.
It's perfect. It goes.
That's crazy.
It sounded fucking awesome. But we ended up not keeping it in there because of, licensing the sample. But then also by the time the chorus hit, the main reason why, because I would have been down to try to get the license approval for it, but it sounded so good that by the time the drop came, it was like, where do you go from here? Because it didn't work. That humming sample sounds great in the verses, but it didn't sound good in the drop. We tried all kinds of things to either just cut it out or it just goes away, or maybe we somehow incorporate it in the drop, and it didn't work. And
like at this point it's like, well, that's probably okay. Like, because you hear the version now and I'm like, I can't imagine it being
It doesn't need it. It sounds cool, but it really doesn't need it. Yeah. It didn't need that sample. But maybe if somebody wants to do like a cool bootleg.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like maybe
That's
an
so
acoustic.
Funny. I did not know that.
I was going to say, we should definitely do an acoustic version.
Oh, yeah.
Once this is out for a
I
minute.
thought about that a couple of days ago, about like a piano vocal or even a guitar vocal. But I think a piano would be cool.
So lyrics, chorus.
Yes.
The best
chorus.
part. This is me praying. I really love that it's worded like that.
Yeah, I wanted, because the verses are vague. They're very, you're not super sure where the song's going to go. So I wanted to put an image in your head and exactly what's going on. So this is me praying, just being straight up like, I am desperately doing this right now. I'm handwriting these lyrics. This is what I'm doing. Because praying is such a vulnerable and intimate thing with yourself. It's a very, very personal thing to do. And even if you're in a room full of people with your heads bowed down at a table, it's a very, very personal thing. And I wanted it to be like, this is what's happening. And then, what is it? To a man I've never met before.
Yeah.
This is me
one of my
on
favorite
my
lines.
knees begging.
Yeah.
To a man I've never met before. I just need an open door.
That's the best line.
I wanted that imagery of the listener to be, this is me on my knees, just begging to something.
Yeah.
Like, because where I'm at and where I'm coming from in the song, I have no idea who I'm talking to. I'm just throwing it out there. I wanted it to be so clear about what was happening, but I didn't want it to be like, hey, I've never prayed before, blah, blah, blah. Like, I wanted it to be specific.
I love the to a man I've never met before, I just need an open door. That was my favorite line. I just need an open door.
Yeah.
Because that's the essence of the whole song. That's the whole thing is I need an open door. I need fucking help. I need an
Like-
open door. I need things to break my way. I need something to go my way, please.
Yeah, like it's raining and it's pouring and I have nothing going right. I can't eat, like, when there's just absolutely not one thing that is in your favor. I mean, you would literally take finding a $5 bill.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what this song is just being so lost and desperate for something good to happen and something to make sense. But yeah, I wanted the chorus specifically to be as upfront as possible. Yeah, and I think the chorus is simple enough in that sense where you can understand it, even if someone isn't like an avid music listener or knows anything about the music world. They can listen to it and be like, oh, that's what the song's about. That's what she's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that I did it that way. And Josh helped a lot with that too. Just being like, keep it simple. You got it. You're going to figure it out.
Economy of words, for sure, in this one. Yeah. Okay, second verse.
Oh, yeah. There's so much I never told anybody because they'd think my heart was cold.
Yeah.
I have dealt with depression and anxiety from a very young age. And I think that line stems from feeling so alone and being scared to talk to someone and be truly honest. Like, not just say, hey, I'm feeling anxious or hey, I'm feeling depressed today. I'm not going to go out. Like, really talking to someone and being like, hey, sometimes I don't even want to be alive. Sometimes I want to burn my house down. Like, which is the reality of being depressed, is you think nothing matters. Like, you are in such a horrible state of mind that absolutely nothing matters. And there's always a fear when you're opening up to someone about feelings like that, about feeling hopeless, feeling anxious, feeling depressed, or even suicidal. It's that fear when you're telling someone, like, are they going to judge me? Are they going to understand? Are they going to try to understand? Are they going to still want to deal with it? But it's a big fear, even if you're telling someone like a secret, like a dirty little secret. You're like, I wonder if they're going to judge me. I wonder if they're going to think I'm a bad person. If you need help with money, if you need help staying alive for the night, if you need someone to call, like picking up your phone and actually calling someone and being like, hey, I'm having a panic attack right now and I need help.
Yes.
Like just the act
yes.
of grabbing your phone.
Oh my God, yes.
And being like, someone will answer.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Your phone weighs 1,000 pounds.
Yeah,
I always think about that.
That resonates with me. 2 weeks ago, I was DJing and I don't know, something happened in the middle of my set. It was in the middle of the set, packed club. And I was getting really dizzy. I think my blood sugar must have been way low. I had 2 consecutive nights of DJing in different cities and I had done a lot of traveling, little sleep, hadn't eaten in like 7 hours. But I was in the middle of my set and I got so dizzy and lightheaded that even like I couldn't look up because the lights are literally strobing and flashing and crazy. And I was thinking things like, and there's like 1,000+ people there and you're up on a stage, I'm isolated and I'm like, fuck, like I'm going to pass out in front of all these people. This is so embarrassing. This is going to be so embarrassing. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this. And I got to the point where I picked my phone up and I started to text the manager and I was starting to text them like, hey, is there something I could eat? Like something's wrong. I don't know. Like I was starting to type it out and then I would delete the text. I wouldn't send it. I was like, I just couldn't send it. I'm like, no, I'm just going to like stick it out. I did that. I did that 3 times. So I was like, and it got so bad that from 12:30 a.m. until 2 a.m. when the club closed for an hour and a half, I literally just stared down at the turntables and I did not look up because if I looked up, the lights were crazy and I was going to pass out. So 1,000 people there, they're all looking at me. I'm not engaging with anyone. I'm just literally trying to just play the music. So I'm just trying to stay awake. I kept my head down in the turntables because there was no lights shining and I was just picking songs and I was literally going in 10-minute increments. Like I was like, okay, let me get to 12:40 a.m. All right, let me get to 12:50. Okay, I'm almost at 1 a.m. And it was literally all the way till 2 a.m. It was so insane. So, but yeah, like I just could not bring myself to actually text anybody. I didn't want to be a problem. I didn't want drama. I didn't want them talking about me. I didn't want it to get back to the owner of like, something's wrong with Ryan. Something happened. Like, I didn't want to be that. I want to be reliable. I want to be, a sure thing. I don't want to cause any problems. And I literally would have passed out before I texted anybody.
When you're in like an anxiety, when you're in anxiety mode, it's like fight or flight. You're like, oh, no one needs to know about this. Yeah. No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm going to be fine. We're good. No one needs to know. When in reality, if you called somebody, they'd probably be like, yeah, absolutely. I'll bring you a snack.
Yeah. I get like, here's a granola bar. Like, yeah. Here's some water. Yeah, it's like,
and it's like you think about situations like that after the fact, and you're like, why didn't I just text somebody? Why didn't I just call somebody? Like, it would have made my life so much easier, and it wouldn't have. I'm glad you didn't pass out. By the way,
me too. And as soon as the lights came on, I was fine. It was like, yeah. As soon as I could sit down and the lights came on, I was fine. And I drove home. Couple hours drive home. I was fine on the drive home. It's weird. I think it was blood sugar. It was blood sugar and I had drank a lot of caffeine because I was tired. I didn't drink water because I'm up there for 5 hours. And so
your heart rate was probably like, we've had so much caffeine and no food.
Yeah,
what are we
doing? I try to drink as little water as possible because I don't want to have to pee. I don't want to be up there and like have to hold it for like 4 hours or something. And so I just usually don't drink water. I know it sounds crazy. So
I mean, I get it though, because that's also just the anxiety of like, I don't want to have to stop and then everyone get pissed that I'm stopping when like.
I mean, the music wouldn't stop because I could put on a long song, but it's like a whole thing. Like if I'm leaving the booth and 1,000 people are all looking like, what's he doing? Where's he going? Wait, he's leaving? Like, no. And then where am I going to go? The bathrooms are packed. There's a line of people trying to wait for the bathroom. And I have like 2 minutes and 30 seconds to pee and get, it's like, it's
a whole thing.
It is a whole thing. But yeah, so I just need an open door. That's my favorite line. I really like that to a man I never met before. I just need an open door. Because like I did grow up in a religious upbringing, went to private school, was raised Catholic. And then I fell away from it because they once enough signaling came in about being gay is wrong. I was like, I don't think this religion's for me, you know? Like, I don't see how I can be me. And also, I just wasn't working. So I fell away and I didn't believe in anything for a while. And then I kind of found my way back to God and to my own spirituality. But I really like the idea of to a man I never met before, because it's almost like, for me at least, it's like rediscovering whatever this intelligence, this creator is.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like having to, because there's so much baggage around the word God and around religion and all of that. That sometimes we have to kind of like rediscover what it means to us or what works for us and try to like, it's like kind of like mud on the window and you're kind of like cleaning it off and trying to let the light in.
I don't think I ever say God in the song. I didn't want to.
No.
Because I didn't want it to be like that. Because so many people would hear it and it would just be all over the place. And I didn't want to ever say God.
Yeah.
I wanted to say it without having to say it.
Yeah.
And the man I've never met before was just a generalization of like some dude probably going to listen. Like, God is everything. God could be a song. There's so many people whose higher power is music or the flowers that grow out of the earth. Like, it could be anything. It could be anything. It's all open to interpretation. So I didn't say God on purpose because everyone's idea of their higher power is completely different.
I'll be curious to see how Spotify treats the song.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not a religious song. It's not meant to be like a Christian song. It's spiritual and secular. And that's the way we've submitted it and pitched it. But I'll just be curious to see what the editors and the algorithm like, you know.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Because it's called Praying. Are they going to still treat it like a pop record,
like a dance
record? They should, but but I don't know. And it'll
be interesting.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where it lands.
One of my favorite parts about having like Spotify for artists is being able to look at the playlists that you're added to, or like not even like the editorial algorithm, anything like that, but like the specific users' playlists and seeing like what it's called or even like what else is on there. Because sometimes it'll be called like Full Mental Breakdown in the Car. And I'm like, see you there, girl. Right. Glad I can be there for that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like Happy Songs I Love. And I'm like, this is so cool. Like I can't wait to see some of the like what it gets categorized as or what people think of it.
Yeah.
Like,
where do they put the song? How do they use it? Yeah. I mean, I got a text from I got a message today from somebody that was like, I can't wait for the song to be out. Like, please, like 2 more days. And he's saying he's excited to work out to it. He's like, I'm going to be working out to this, going to add to my workout list.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I can completely see that. Yeah.
So I had somebody said they were can't wait to work out to it. But then another person said, this is going to be my going like on my way to church song.
Oh, I love that.
For him. Like he's going to listen to it on the way to church. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's always so cool where, like, when you think about where someone would listen to it. Yeah. Like, because I have songs I specifically listen to at, like, 2 a.m. And, like, usually I wouldn't listen to it in the car, but, like, I'll listen to it in my bed or, like, in the shower.
Yeah.
But, like, it's always interesting to me when I see, like, the playlist names. And I'm like, I wonder what hour of the day you're listening to this in. Are you at work? Are you driving home? Like, it's so interesting. And it's all, especially because this song is so open to interpretation. I'm very, very interested to see how she does.
Yeah. Yeah. Yay. Okay, let's get into verse 2. We're in verse 2.
Yes, we got the, it's getting cold. Nope.
Is that it? Is that it?
I never told anybody because I think my heart was cold.
Oh, what about with the feelings? I'm stranger to my feelings.
Yes. it might sound stupid, but I'm strangers with my feelings, not even crying. I swear I've been trying.
That's good.
It's kind of, that line is almost like a panic attack in itself. It's kind of just being like, you know, that feeling like right when you get anxious, it's like in your throat, like you almost get nauseous. It's like kind of putting the imagery and the metaphor into it as anxiety as a person or this feeling as a person. And I'm like, I don't know you. I don't know why you're here. It might sound stupid, but I'm strangers with my feelings.
Yeah.
Like kind of being like, yeah, I know this is weird, but this is what's happening in my head and I have no idea what to do with it. Not even crying, I swear I've been trying, goes back to that just numb feeling. Like sometimes you just cry because that's all you can do. And then when you get past that point and you can't, you're just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Why do I feel like this? And the second verse is definitely more punchy. It definitely hits harder than the first one.
Oh, yeah.
Vocally, it was really fun to do because I love, I mean, there's like 4-part harmonies in this and so many vocal tracks, which I love. I love an overflowing, just all the harmonies, everything.
Yeah.
It was really fun to do. It was really fun. I like recording a vocal like this.
You're in Nashville right now.
Mm.
And what are your hopes for the future? What are your plans? Where do you want to go with things?
So Josh is who I write majority of my specific artist songs with. Anything that I would put out, everything that I love for myself specifically as an artist. And there were no releases for the past, I think, 2 years. And I just released a song called Hell on Earth on November 9th.
Okay.
And it was kind of just like here's kind of what's been going on. Haven't been here in a minute, but I'm getting right back to it. And so we've got plans to release every month.
Okay.
And just go from there. Because I already have a pretty good audience. And as much as I hate to say it, you got to post on TikTok. And I do like posting on TikTok because like every once in a while, someone will leave a comment and be like, I'm so glad that I saw this.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, thank you. I'd go into a write and be like, oh my gosh, I want to release this. Like, I can't wait. And then I don't. And now I'm so glad that I haven't, that I took the break I needed because I feel so good and so safe with what we're doing right now and what I have coming. Like, everything is just good.
And you're
it's
young.
So solid. I'm
you're
really,
young, girl. You got your whole life ahead of you. Yeah.
I'm really excited. It's just been wild. It's weird. I was in a terrible relationship last year, so I got to write a lot of songs.
Good.
Yes, it's the best.
Thanks. Inspiration.
And that's also been some of the hardest songs to write because before, I mean, I've been releasing and writing since I was 15. So a lot of the love songs or the, I guess, hate songs are either based on just random ideas or they were always based on my friends. And it's so weird to finally write such a sad, gut-wrenching song about me.
Yes.
But it's been great. And like, I have such an amazing group of like, just a solid support group. Like my friends, my sisters are like my lifeline. And my parents are great and they were super supportive of everything like that. And like I'll write a super, super sad song. And I'm very specific. Everything is like, it's like I'm just giving people my secrets. But I'll write a super sad song and I'll bring it home and I'll play it for my friends. And they are just like floored. They're like, it's so empowering isn't the word. It maybe empowering, humbling. It's wild to see my friends be like, you like, this is you doing it.
Like,
this is you doing what
it.
you're supposed to do.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
And I was so scared to release Hell on Earth because it is so on it of my relationship.
Yeah.
And I texted my best friend the night before, like the night it was going to release at like midnight, you know. And I texted her and I was like, what am I doing? Is this a bad idea? Should I have done this? Like, why was this the first one I picked? And she didn't even tell me to calm down. All she said was, other people need it. Like, there are other people that need to hear this, that need to know that you went through it and you got out of it. And then you got to write a great song about it. Like, other people need to cry to it. Other people need to scream it in the car. That's my thing. It's like these terrible situations that I wish people wrote songs about growing up, that I could scream in my car. Like, I'm glad that I'm able to do that. Even if, like, because right now it's just like however many listeners I've got, I try my best to promote and do what I can. But there's still like the one or two people that'll DM me on Instagram or like comment on a TikTok and be like, thank you so much for releasing this song.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I need. Like it almost makes me cry. I'm literally like, I'll see it, or like somebody will say like, oh, me and my friends listen to this in the car. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. Yeah, I have a lot of hope for what I have coming. So I'm really, really excited.
Okay. Yay, I can't wait to hear all the new music.
I'm so excited for you too.
So we're coming to the end of the show.
I could talk to you for a very long time.
I know.
We need to just get on Zoom every once in a while.
Yeah, we can you're a friend of the show. We can have you back too in the future.
I would love to.
Yeah.
I really would love to.
You can update us on. We can update on everyone on how the song's doing, and we can talk about your projects and.
Yeah. Just talk. I would love to just talk.
So, Adobe listeners that joined us at any point during this conversation, you're listening to Life Rhythms podcast and radio show, and I have with me my guest is Sela Bruce. She's a singer-songwriter, and we've been featuring the song "Praying" that Sela is the vocalist on. It's both of our singles that we're putting out, and it's funny because like I've done 48 episodes of this show, and I've never once featured a song of mine. It's always
really,
yeah. This is the first time, so it's kind of surreal to be like, my single, this is our song.
Yeah.
But yeah. But anyways, I want to encourage people to connect with you online. Sela Bruce, SelaBruce.
Yes, and that's it everywhere.
TikTok, Instagram, Spotify.
Yeah, TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Music.
And
you can find me anywhere.
Yeah, find her. And if you're listening to this on the radio, the full video version of this conversation is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. So you'll want to search Life Rhythms and Sela Bruce, and the episode will come up. You can watch the full video of this.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for coming on Life Rhythms.
Thank you for having me. I will be back in no time.
Yes. Everybody take care. We'll see you next time.